हेलो माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, कैसे हैं आप लोग। उम्मीद करती हूँ आप सब अच्छे होंगे। फ्रॉम द बुक थिंक लाइक अ मॉन्क, ट्रेन योर माइंड फॉर पीस एंड पर्पस एवरी डे, रिटन बाय जय शेट्टी। चैप्टर 4, इंटेंशन, पार्ट 2। Fear is not sustainable. In the last chapter, we talked about fear, so I am not going to dwell on it here. When fear motivates you, you pick what you want to achieve, a promotion, a relationship, buying a home, because you will believe it will bring you safety and security. Fear alerts and ignites us. This warning flare is useful. As we discussed, fear points out problems and sometimes motivates us. For instance, the fear of getting fired may motivate you to get organized. The problem with fear is that it's not sustainable. When we operate in fear for a long time, we can't work to the best of our abilities. We are too worried about getting the wrong result. We become frantic or paralyzed and are unable to evaluate our situations objectively or to take risks. The Maya of success. The second motivation is desire. This is when we chase personal gratification. Our path to adventures, pleasures, and comforts often takes the form of material goals. I want $1 million home. I want financial freedom. I want an amazing wedding. When I ask people to write down their goals, they often give answers describing what most people think of as success. We think that success equals happiness, but this idea is an illusion. The Sanskrit word for illusion is Maya, which means believing in that which is not. When we let achievements and acquisitions determine our course, we are living in the illusion that happiness comes from external measures of success. But all too often we find that when we finally get what we want, when we find success, and it doesn't lead to happiness. Jim Carrey once said, I think everybody should get rich and famous and do everything they ever dreamed of so they can see that it's not the answer. The illusion of success is tied not just to income and acquisitions, but to achievements like becoming a doctor or getting a promotion or memorizing the scriptures. My desire is the story above, to be able to recite every verse from the scriptures, is the monk's version of material desire. Like all of these wants, my ambition was centered around an external outcome, being as impressively learned as that other monk. American spiritual luminary Tara Brach, founder of the Insight Meditation Community of Washington, D.C., writes, as long as we keep attacking our happiness to the external events of our lives, which are ever changing, we will always be left waiting for it. Once, as a monk, I visited a temple in Srirangam, one of the three major holy cities in South India. I came upon a worker high up on a scaffold applying gold powder to the intricate details on the temple ceiling. I did never seen anything like it, and I stopped to watch. As I gazed upward, a dusting of gold floated down into my eyes. I hurried from the temple to rinse my eyes, then returned, keeping a safe distance this time. This episode felt like a lesson torn from the scriptures. Gold dust is beautiful, but come too close and it will blur your vision. The gilt that is used on temples isn't solid gold. It's mixed into a solution, and as we know, it is used to cover up stone to make it look like solid gold. It's Maya, an illusion. In the same way, money and fame are only a facade, because our search is never for a thing but for the feeling we think the thing will give us. We all know this already. We see wealthy and for famous people who seem to have it all, but who have bad relationships or suffer from depression. And it's obvious that success didn't bring happiness. The same is true for those of us who aren't rich and famous. We quickly tire of our smartphones and want the next model. We receive a bonus, but the initial excitement fades surprisingly fast when our lives don't really improve. We think that a new phone or a bigger house will make us feel somehow better, cooler, or more satisfied, but instead find ourselves wanting more. Material gratification is external, but happiness is internal. When monks talk about happiness, they tell the story of the Maksadia, a tale derived from a poem by Kabir, a 15th century Indian mystic and poet. The Maksadir picks up an irresistible scent in the forest and chases it, searching for the source, not realizing that the scent comes from its own pores. It spends his whole life wandering fruitlessly. In the same way, we search for happiness, finding it elusive when it can be found within us. Happiness and fulfillment come only from mastering the mind and connecting with the soul, not from objects or attainments. Success doesn't guarantee happiness, and happiness doesn't require success. They can feed each other, and we can have them at the same time, but they are not intertwined. After analyzing a Gallup survey on well being, Princeton University researchers official concluded that money does not buy happiness. After basic needs and then some are fulfilled, while having more money contributes to overall life satisfaction. That impact level of at a salary of around $75,000. In other words, when it comes to the impact of money on how you view the quality of your life, a middle class American citizen fared about as well as Jeff Bezos. Success is earning money, being respected in our work, executing projects smoothly, receiving accolades. Happiness is feeling good about yourself, having close relationships, making the world a better place. More than ever, popular culture celebrates the pursuit of success. TV shows aimed to adolescents focus more on image, money, and fame than in the past. Then fame than in the past. Popular songs and books use language promoting individual achievements over community connection, group membership, and self acceptance. It's no surprise that happiness rates have consistently declined among Americans adults since 1970s, and it doesn't just boil down to income. In an interview with the Washington Post, Jeffrey Sachs, director of the Center of Sustainable Development and an editor of World Happiness Report, points out while the average income of people around the world definitely affects their sense of well-being, it doesn't explain all that much because other factors, both personal and social, are very important determinants of well being. Sachs says that while generally American incomes have risen since 2005, our happiness has fallen, in part because of social factors like declining trust in the government and our fellow Americans and weaker social networks. Duty and love. If fear limits us and success doesn't satisfy us, then you have probably already guessed that duty and love have no more to offer. Have more to offer. Then if fear limits us and success doesn't satisfy us, then you have probably already guessed that duty and love have more to offer. We all have different goals, but we all want the same things, a life full of joy and meaning. Monks don't seek out of the joy part. We aren't looking for happiness or pleasure. Instead, we focus on the satisfaction that comes from living a meaningful life. Happiness can be elusive. It's hard to sustain a high level of joy, but to feel meaning shows that our actions have purpose. They lead to a worthwhile outcome. We believe we are leaving a positive imprint. What we do matters. So we matter. Bad things happen. Boring chores must get done. Life isn't all sunshine and unicorns, but it is always possible to find meaning. If you lose a loved one and someone tells you to look for the positive, to be happy, to focus on the good things in your life, Well, you might want to punch that person, but we can survive the worst tragedies by looking for meaning in the loss. We might honor a loved one by giving to the community or discover a new gratitude for life that we pass on to those who have supported us. Eventually, the value that we see in our actions will lead to a sense of meaning. In the Atharva Veda, it says, money and mansions are not the only wealth. Hoard the wealth of the spirit. Character is wealth, good conduct is wealth, and spiritual wisdom is wealth. Purpose and meaning, not success, lead to on true contentment. When we understand this, we see the value of being motivated by duty and or love. When you act out on duty and love, you know that you are providing value. The more we upgrade from trying to fulfill our selfish needs to doing things out of service and love, the more we can achieve. In her book, The Upside of Stress, author Kelly McGonigal says that we can better handle discomfort when we can associate it with a goal, purpose, or person we care about. For example, when it comes to planning a child's birthday party, a parent might be more than willing to endure the unpleasantness of staying up late. The pain of lost sleep is offset by the satisfaction of being a lover mother. But when it comes to working late at a job that same woman hates, she is miserable. She can take on more when we are doing it for someone we love or to serve a purpose we believe in rather than from the misguided idea that we'll find happiness through success. When we perform work with the conviction that what we do matters, we can live intensely without a reason for moving forward. We have no drive. When we live intentionally with a clear sense of why what we do matters, life has meaning and brings fulfillment. Intention fills the car with gas. The